I'm sorry, Senator, please continue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is an issue I think most of you are familiar with. It deals with an inequity in our system of how we evaluate diplomas. I have with me Representative Mike Bell, who has addressed this issue and been working very diligently in the House and working with the departments on this issue. And it arises due to an interpretation, I believe, of a rule by a staff member, and accordingly, a type of diploma from one of our home schools is not recognized for things that I think Representative Bell, things that it's necessary that they be recognized for, and it produces an undue burden or hardship on some of our citizens. So, Madam Chair, if we may, if I'd like to get a motion and a second on the bill, and then ask that we go in recess for Representative Bell to address the specifics of the bill.
Motion on the bill, Senator Ketron, and seconded by Senator Tracy. And we'll go into recess to hear from Representative Bell.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, committee members, for allowing me to hold the privilege to address this committee and to address the members from the upper house. And thank you for allowing me to be here. This issue came to light last year, at least it's when I was first made aware of it. We've got, I was notified by several people from different parts of the state, some of them from Knoxville, some of them from Jackson. I believe I had some from Roane County, who had graduated from either homeschool programs or Category 4 schools, which are defined under 4950-801, which actually predates homeschooling in the state of Tennessee. Homeschooling became legal in Tennessee in 1985, where the 4950-801 statute, which defines a certain category of private schools, became legal in 1976. But students who graduated from either the homeschool program or a private school program, as defined by 4950-801 and 49.63050, have diplomas that are not approved by the state of Tennessee Department of Education. Now, these students and this form of education does not seek that approval. In fact, it was specifically put in law that they wouldn't have to have the approval because they choose to educate without teacher certification, without adhering to the standards that the state has set for curriculum. And the legislature has given those people the freedom, be it religious or otherwise, to educate that way. We've had students who have graduated from high school and have applied for jobs, either to be a daycare worker, and I know the specific instances I've heard of have been daycare workers and also police officers who came to find out they could not work at a daycare center, or at least work unsupervised, because their diplomas were not recognized by the state. And what this bill seeks to do is say that a diploma that's been awarded by any legal form of education in the state of Tennessee, that diploma should be recognized as valid for jobs that by statute require a high school diploma. Not by, and by statute, the statute does not say it has to be an approved high school diploma. That's what's been interpreted by the Department of Education. And that's an interpretation that I would like to fix through this legislation. And Madam Chair, in doing some research on this bill, I found out there's actually 8 professions in the state that you have to have a high school diploma to participate in. One would be educational assistants, i.e. Daycare workers, pedorthists, which are shoe fitters, as I understand it, auctioneers, public safety dispatchers, sheriffs, police officers, candidates for boards of education, and mayor or alderman for the town of Palmer, Tennessee. And which is kind of a unique little twist in the law there. But even though we've only heard about problems from the daycare workers and police officers, potentially any of these jobs, the students who have graduated from either a homeschool program or a Category 4 program under a private school could be discriminated against and they would not be allowed to hold one of these jobs. So this bill has been brought by Senator Bunch and myself to try to fix this inequity. Any questions that the members? And if I might also say, I know Senator Woodson worked with me last year on this issue some, and I know the chair lady on the House Education Committee last year heard about this problem as well.
Thank you, Representative Bell. Are there questions for Senator Woodson?
Representative Bell, if you'll forgive me, and from last year, we had a very productive conversation going with the department. Apparently, that must have gotten off the rails, or you wouldn't be presenting the bill. So, what's happened between then and now that is bringing us back to this conversation?
Well, I know, and you may want to speak to Bruce Opie about this, but I know there was a discussions about, I guess, forming a committee that would hear appeals. You might say if somebody was denied an opportunity to work at a daycare center or one of these other jobs, and they could go before this committee that the Department of Education was going to set up. And I know Bruce and I have spoken a couple times about it. I don't know if the committee is up and working. I don't know if they've heard any from anybody. I guess an appeal, the only word I know to use. So I don't really know what's going on with that, but I do know that that I've heard from somebody whose daughter attends Pellissippi State, and who is I don't know if she's just about to complete her first year. She still is not able to be left alone unsupervised at a daycare center in Knoxville, even though she's about to complete her first year at Pellissippi State. And one of the things that I guess, if you'd allow me to go back just to give a little brief history, these diplomas, while not approved, while not officially recognized by the state of Tennessee, and I know this Senator Burke from being from Southeast Tennessee. I can give you some examples of some people from Chattanooga. You probably know Jeff Atherton, and he coaches the mock trial team that's won national awards. And we've got a couple of members who've been on that team, the Downer boys, who are both at Harvard University on scholarships, who have one of these diplomas that they can go to Harvard, but they couldn't be a daycare worker. We also have a young man from Chattanooga named Nathaniel Goggins, who was just appointed an attorney, who was just appointed to serve on the Tennessee Ethics Commission. Well, he's appointed to serve on the Ethics Commission. He's an attorney, but technically by the rule that they promulgated, he couldn't be a daycare worker. And so that's what this is trying to fix, and exactly where we are with the department, I'm not real sure.
Or police officer.
Now, I'll tell you what's happened with the police officers. The police officers, again, were looking to the department for guidance. And this past summer, in a Government Operations Committee meeting, when we had the Post Commission in front of us with another issue, I was able to ask them this question, and they no longer are looking to the Department of Education for guidance on what is an approved diploma. They now are accepting these students with their homeschool diplomas as valid students and as people who can be a police officer. But again, I know it's still happening with the daycare workers, and potentially it could happen with any of these 8 professions. And so this language in this bill, I believe, would just clear it up.